little bit. I'll be honest. It just comes. It's no advantage when you're running and cycling because obviously the bigger your lats, the more wind resistance there is on a bike, the more surface area there is to hit, and obviously the heavier you are, the more weight you've got to carry when you're running. So it's absolutely counterintuitive. So most of my
you just gotta schedule your bike rides on days where the forecast says that there's a tailwind.
For sure. The only downside is I can only ride in one direction then, though. So yeah, there'd be some PBs on the windy days for sure. But yeah, so yeah, as Carnival, I'm guessing that's composition consultant. Is it? That looks like his logo, I think.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Possibly.
Hi, Jonathan.
But yeah, that's exactly what we were just in explosive training. I've never, I've used to do explosive for sprinting, but that was more for speed. Does it build muscle? I wouldn't say so. As again, eccentric movements, time and attention, we are stronger on the eccentric over concentric, and that's what I would advise people to do. Again, something Colt mentioned earlier, the 2 hours training in the gym, absolutely counterintuitive, 45 minutes to an hour. And I gained a lot more. I noticed that the amount that I would get back from my workouts in regards to size, muscle mass, strength, everything was far greater when I decided to reduce the amount of training, less rest in between reps, concentrate on these eccentric movements, and went to the lighter weights as well. So leave ego at the door. It does nothing but injure and puts you out of action for far too long. So
can I play devil's advocate, even though I haven't got a voice left? Of course, if you look at 100-meter sprinters, they look pretty good. I mean, they do have some bulk on them.
Yeah, but they're not just sprinting, are they? They're doing stuff in the gym. They're not just sprinting. You're not going to sprint for 2 hours a day or an hour. Surely not. I've never worked with a sprinter, so if anybody's got any experience there, but I'm sure they're in there doing bloody bench, squats or deadlifts or hack squats, etc. I don't think they're just sprinting, are they? Surely.
I think one of the keys for why they look so good is because when you're sprinting, actually, you spend a lot of time working on range of motion. So bringing your knees fully up to your chest when you're running, fully extend your arm back, fully bringing your arm forward.
Wow.
So
yeah, very good point.
That you also get the bang from the buck because of all their, the synergy of all their muscles. So that will bulk it up as well. But yes, they do strength training, and there's loads going on in the chat. So let's have a little look. This is a nice question. And Jonathan, I was just playing devil's advocate because people will watch this and say, well, sprinters look pretty good, don't they? That's explosive. Right.
May I add one thing to that?
Yeah, please.
And piggyback off of that. Yeah. So Richard, same thing. After too many years of squats and deadlifts too, my lower back was a wreck, had herniated discs so that I couldn't even get out of bed and walk in the morning without someone helping me literally get out of bed. And so those days are long past, but it did flare up really, really bad before my last guest posing gig. And this was a month ago. And long distance running was detrimental to it. It made it 10 times worse, but I could still sprint oddly enough. Even though it's high intensity, it's less impact, I think. And it's more of a forward motion than a bouncing up and down motion. So while one was killing my back, the other one, yeah, Stephen, to your point, I was getting a way better. I think you put more effort into your form. You're striding longer, so you're stretching everything further, and the direction is forward more so than up and down, like if you're jogging. I hope that makes sense.
Cool. And I think Jonathan wants to see your guns as well. Yeah.
That's cool. No pump. Sorry. That's the best I can do.
Well, I haven't. I've barely lifted weights since I came away from bodybuilding in May last year. So Mine probably not as impressive, but there's still a little bit of shape there, I think. Not bad for
Yeah, it's difficult to see, isn't it?
yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
Get
I'm
those-
not
get those lats out,
bodybuilding either at the moment.
Turn the keys, innit?
But
Yeah.
that
And
shows.
did you guys get those muscles with or without carbs? I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah, you see, I think, we're 27 minutes in and we haven't really talked about nutrition, but yes, of course, no carbs builds muscle, not a problem. You're proof, Colt, actually. I mean, Rich is also proof. I've got a nice question, though. We are taking questions, so that's why we're not talking keto carnivore at the moment so much. I've got some stuff about what I've been doing with my glucose and keto readings. But anyway, let's talk about Sonny's question. This is another one close to my heart. I've been using large resistance bands for my strength training lately. What are your thoughts on bands versus free weights versus machines? And again, Colt, you're the guest, so you take center stage to answer that first.
Oh, good. I love this question. I'm a huge fan of bands. Actually, I think bands are extremely underrated. I haven't had the luxury of being able to really go to a gym and work out very much because I'm just like you guys. I mean, basically my work day ends when my brain just like can't handle anymore, and it's just time to crash and start over and do it again the next day. We're in hustle and grind mode right now. Kids are just getting into school, and so we're pretty busy. But yeah, being able to go to a gym hasn't really been something we've been able to do for a couple months now. I can count on one hand the amount of actual gym workouts that I've had the last couple months. So everything that we're doing is at home. It's all with the dumbbells and the barbells that we've made. Actually, we make our own. That's our other business. It's called Skullbells, SKULLBELLZ. And so I've been sticking with basically our machine that we have. It's the converging chest press machine. You can use it for converging shoulder presses. You can use it for a lot of different things. But as far as cables go and any other machines beside that, slim pickings here. We have a 12 by 20 foot studio that we're using. So bands are really key for myself and for my wife. Biggest band exercises that I'm a fan of, if I wanted to go just through every body part real quick, would be shoulders. Start from the top down. So a behind the neck press. Behind the neck presses are kind of rough if you're using a barbell or anything that's, where you're having to go too far behind. So I think of it like a behind the neck press so that I can still focus on the side and rear delts. I'll stand on the band and then press them over my head like that. I feel my shoulders feel safer. It doesn't put that same load on my joints that using a heavy bar or a heavy weight does. From there, chest, you don't need bands for chest. You can do push-ups. That's a body weight exercise. For rear, here's a good one for rear deltoids. I'll fix the band. I'll hold the handles and fix the band at about eye level, and I'll do either a face pull or a Y raise like that for the rear delts. Triceps, band behind you, pulling apart like that. Biceps, easy. You stand on the band, curl it. I like to alternate arms when I do it that way. Back exercises, straight arm pull downs. So, and the reason that as a bodybuilder you get real good and real creative with bands is because you got to pump up before shows and photo shoots all the time, and a lot of times it's all you have with you is a band, especially backstage. So, for lats, affix it somewhere high, and arms are straight. You're leaning into it with your chest up, and diverging your arms, pulling your arms apart as you go back. That's more of how you're that'll follow more in line with the natural range of motion of your lats. As far as legs go, I would say after I just got done bashing squats, body weight squats. When I say that I don't do squats, what I mean is back squats. So this would be a front squat with the bands right in front. 20, 30 reps on those. I know it's pretty high, but if you're working with bands, that's what I would recommend in that case. That's a good opportunity to get some blood flow. And then you can do hamstring curls with them too. Stiff leg deadlifts. I mean, the sky's the limit. But yeah, in a nutshell, huge fan of bands. Oh, sorry, one more that I got to add to that. This has been a key one lately. Having the band low and to the side and doing a hip adduction. This is going back to Jonathan Griffiths again. He has brought to my attention the importance of how important the adductors are to work in terms of male hypertrophy. If you have a gap between your legs, that's the muscle that you want to focus on, is your adductors, which is kind of the last thing you forget about, especially as a guy. We're always focused on quads and hamstrings, right? But that's an important one you got to keep in mind too.
Yeah, let's get on to food, because I noticed there's a comment there, and I feel that, you know, there's going to be people that are not exercising but interested in the carnivore food. So, I mean, we're all carnivores in this room. I've been doing it 5 years. I think most people start low carb, then they go keto, and then they go carnivore. And I've got some experiments I've done with glucose and ketones to blow out of the water, talking about ketosis all the time. So, yeah, Cole, I know you're in super shape, but what's the sort of day of eating look like for you? Do you eat frequently, or do you do 1 meal a day, or is it different depending on your prep, whether you're doing a show or whether you're just, after a show, basically?
Mm-hmm. Well, right now I'm doing 2 meals a day. As far as what I'm currently training for and dieting for, I am. Let's see. I'm not competing anytime soon. I want to wait until about 2026 or 2027. So my goal right now in terms of my nutrition is to maintain my muscularity and conditioning up through the next 9-10 weeks. I'm going to New Hampshire for a WNBF show and then an NPC show in Seattle. So basically opposite ends of the United States. And I'm not competing in those ones. I'm coaching those ones, but we're going to be shooting YouTube videos. And so I want to be not peeled to the bone, but like respectable enough to be able to make a YouTube training video. So next summer we're doing a lean bulk. Then we're going to lean bulk and then start cutting again, probably about 2 months before the Open Natural next summer, which is going to be my next guest posing gig. So like basically the next time I step on stage is going to be then. And then I'm going to compete in 2026 or 2027. Not really sure then. Want our kids to be like a bit more established, kind of focus on family for a little bit and spend some time building some muscles so I can be a bit more competitive.
Do you worry about being in ketosis? Does that ever come into your regime?
No, I never worry about it, but I'm always aware of it and I track it. And it's just data. So it's one of those things to where I don't believe that you need to be in a ketogenic state all day, every day. I think that you can get really carried away with thinking that that's more important than it is. You may need to be in ketosis to lose weight, and you may not. I don't know, but your body is designed smart enough to be able to figure it out. And as long as you're eating a species appropriate diet and getting the results then you need that you're looking for in terms of health and body composition, then why would you care if you're in ketosis or not? But yeah, to answer your question, I do know that there's a 30% increase in your metabolic rate from being in a ketogenic state. So I try to be in there more often than not, and it helps me to make sure that my sleep is optimized. If I go too high on my protein, it knocks me out of ketosis, and then I start needing 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep. Where when I'm in ketosis, man, it's great because boom, 5 hours of sleep, and I'm just like wake up the next morning just like kind of ready to go. And if I'm not in ketosis, I see a correlation to where my sleep quality isn't quite as good otherwise.
See, that's pretty fascinating. Would you guys mind if I did a screen share? Because I've been doing a little bit of experimenting, being in and out of ketosis. Is that okay with you, Rich? Cool.
Please.
All right, because I just want to talk about a couple of myths and give you some real data, some actual things that happened. So it should flash up on the screen. Excuse just using it basically from a browser, but yeah. So what I did was not last Thursday, the Thursday before, I decided to prep for some fasting and then some non-fasting to see what happened with my glucose and ketones. Okay. And also a little bit of weight loss. So Thursday, by the way, I prepped, and I we don't talk about calories, but everyone gets calories. So I had a lot of food, basically, a lot of food on the Thursday. So I fasted on Friday, and by the Saturday morning, just out of interest, in that time, I lost 1.8 kilograms of weight, and I had quite a high level of ketones, very low glucose. So that was the Saturday.
Wow.
And then on the Monday, I consumed, again, about 5,000 calories. So about 2 days worth of food. And that would have been ribeyes and scrambled eggs. I am pretty boring in some respects. I didn't have any fish this time. I do like some fish. But the interesting thing was that the day after the meal on Monday, on Tuesday, was still in ketosis. And this is the thing that people don't believe. But I was very highly in it, which is interesting. So Monday I was eating. I was absolutely eating. And then my ketones very high and my glucose was very low, which is counterintuitive to a lot of people. So you can eat and you can stay in ketosis. So so basically that was Tuesday. Yeah. I didn't eat on the Tuesday, but I was eating on the Monday. And I lost, even with that amount of food, 0.9 kilograms. Then I did a big long fast just to see if longer fasting would be better than eating, and then see what happened the next day. And my ketones went down with 60 hours of fasting and lost less weight, 0.6. I'm not doing this for weight loss, by the way. I was just trying to show people that you can eat and stay in ketosis. I don't want people to not eat. I took some pictures of what I ate on Wednesday. A new thing I've tried is raw mince or ground beef. Just a shout out to Keto Savage there. I also had a whole keto brick because I wanted to bump the amount of food going up. And so, yeah, Wednesday I ate a lot of food. And Thursday, the morning after eating all of that, was the highest ketones back again, the 3.8. So that, I think that's near the end. Yeah. So basically what happened there is I lost 1.5 kilograms there as well. So I'd lost about 10 pounds in that little week experiment and stayed in ketosis, whether I was eating or not. So I think you can become, and I can't wait for Rich because he's dying to say something. I don't think it's necessarily you have to do long-term fasting. I think it's all about, this is what I'm thinking, possibly you have to do, get yourself fat adapted. That's what I was thinking.
100%.
What makes you think eating is going to pull you from a ketogenic state?
Because a lot of people think that. And I was just trying to, I was just trying to show that isn't the case. Because there's a lot of people on social media, Rich.
I used to think this. I used to think the same thing, actually.
Yeah, it's not the case at all. So being ketogenic mimics a fasted state. So just being ketogenic, whether we're eating or not, will still elicit the benefits of autophagy, mitophagy, lipolysis, and brown fat activation, whether we're eating or not. The reason that some people think that they may be out of a ketogenic state after eating is because when we eat, this affects glucagon, which affects something called malonyl coenzyme A. And this slows down the carnitine shuttle, which is the body's ability to put that fat into the cell. So it temporarily shows lower ketone readings, but it doesn't pull us from a ketogenic state. So it's the effect on malonyl coenzyme A when we eat. So it's the effect of glucagon, malonyl coenzyme A, that affects the carnitine shuttle, CPT1. But it does not pull us from a ketogenic state. We see a similar effect when we train. So we see something called peripheral insulin resistance when we train, and that can give an indication. So we shouldn't test ketone levels after eating. We shouldn't test ketone levels after training. You were still in a ketogenic state. As long as you were not spiking insulin to that degree where you are pulling yourself from a ketogenic state through the insulin, altering the insulin to glucagon ratio, then you will remain ketogenic. And eating meat does not pull you from a ketogenic state. So do not fear protein. The fear of gluconeogenesis pulling you from a ketogenic state, again, is a myth. It comes from a study done on carbohydrate, where high carbohydrate diet and the overconsumption of protein alters the insulin to glucagon ratio by as much as 2,000%. But the same effect, or the same study carried out on a keto person when protein was increased, altered the insulin to glucagon ratio by 5%, which as a whole number remained unchanged. So even though there was a slight effect on insulin, which there would be because of protein. Gluconeogenesis is demand-driven and will not pull you from a ketogenic state. So do not fear your food. Do not fear especially your protein and your fat. Eat when you're hungry. If you're not hungry, don't eat, etc., etc. How was that for an answer?
That's a brilliant answer, and I am glad that I've shaken your cage. Yeah, the thing is, I know that you can stay ketogenic without
you don't need to fast. It's
no, exactly, yeah, but that is a common thing out there.
It is.
Rich.
So somebody asked me recently. I don't code him. It may have been on your podcast. Actually, I don't know if this was something we covered, but a lot of people asked me recently, do I fast? And my answer now is no. I don't fast. I just eat intuitively. It just so happens that I haven't eaten for 18 hours.
Yep, that was our show. That's how you do it.
Yeah, I don't actively fast. I eat when I'm hungry. If I'm not hungry, I don't eat. If I wake up and I feel hungry, I'm going to have some food. If I'm not hungry, I don't eat. It just so happens that generally, by the time that I do come to eating, it has been 16, 18, 20 hours before my last meal. But I'm not actively trying to fast. Now, I'm not actively trying to cut for any competition or any reason either. So I'm just trying to be fit and healthy. And coming back to something, I think we touched base on the podcast with Dr. Kiltz last week. I watched a program on, I think it was Netflix, called Physical 100. It was a Korean program, I believe. 100 like TV celebrities, I think, from from Korea and various other places. And the idea was to find out who had the best physique. What was the best physique? And there are strong men on there. There are power lifters. There are sprinters. All sorts of people, military, anything you can think of. And the guy that won was a guy that you wouldn't give a second look to in the street. Now, he looked fit and healthy, but with clothes on, you wouldn't have given him a second look. Top off, you can see the outline of abs, but they weren't ripped and shredded. Not the type of look that the Colt and I go for when competing. He just looked like a slightly above average, fit and healthy guy, but somebody wouldn't give a set. You wouldn't think he was an athlete. And he won. He won this competition because he was the best all-rounder, which makes perfect sense because from an evolutionary perspective, we don't want to be huge and heavy, catching our prey. We need to be light and fast and quick, but we also need to be strong. So we need this slight layer of fat. We don't want to be ripped and shredded, but we don't also want to be massive and too heavy that we can't run and catch our prey either. So I think that's why he won. You know, he was the average, he was the average looking guy, but he was the quickest on the. As an average, he performed best across all of these things. And I think we need to remember that sometimes when we look into the mirror and we think, I want to see these ripped, shredded abs, and I'm just as guilty as anybody else. This is what I want all the time, but I've come to the understanding and the realization that isn't healthy. I can't remain 2%, 3% body fat indefinitely. It's not healthy. Where I am now is healthy. If that is 8, 9, 10% for me, that's fine. It could be 12 or 13% or beyond for you. So yeah, I thought that was worth putting there. Don't be concerned with constantly looking to shred either. You don't have to fast continuously. Eat when you're hungry. If you're not hungry, don't eat. Eat intuitively.
100%.
Yeah, I think this is a great thing because, it is your goal. Whatever your goal is, and
it's goal specific. Exactly.
Yeah, goal specific. Yeah. If you look at like something like the Navy SEALs, when they look for command, the top echelons, when they're deciding who's going to be a Navy SEAL and who's going to run it, who's going to be the leader, they look at performance, but actually the index that they look at more is trust. So you might have, if you've got a really high performer that can do absolutely everything, but they quantify levels of trust. If they've got a low level of trust within the team, they will not be a leader. Whereas you can have a slightly less well-performing, they're all mega, less performing guy. But if he's got the trust of the team, which they do an index for all these soldiers actually, they are more likely to be the leader because, as you just said, Rich, they're gonna be good in all the situations. But not only that, they're gonna be trustworthy. So, just giving you a little bit of trivia there. I like a bit of trivia. we'll go back to the exercise, but we'll then revert back to the food because, yes, this is a carnivore sort of discussion, but we're all carnivores and we're also talking about exercise. So Matthew has asked, are there any substitution exercises for standing and seated calf raisers? I can't do them unless they're very light due to a moped accident over 14 years ago. Too light now for a progressive overload. That's a great question, actually. To train after an injury is particularly interesting. Any thoughts, guys?
Okay, so you can't do a standing calf raise, and you can't do a seating calf raise.
Oh, that's right. Is there any way to work calves without?
Well, I guess I'm not training I'm not training calves at all. I haven't for like. I think that the only calf training I've done is to teach people how to train calves, and that's it. But I'm particularly genetically gifted with the calves as well. I've also done a lot of running, and I do one long distance run every single week. It's not for cardio, it's for mental health. It's just to kind of escape from work and from everything for I set my timer for a half hour, and my dog and I run out, and then we run back from wherever we're at. My calves are usually shot the next day. I think that running is a very underrated anabolic exercise for the calves, actually.
And cycling. I mean, if you look at most cyclists, their calves are awesome. Going upstairs, step work is pretty good. What about you, Rich? Anything?
Yeah, nothing to add. I mean, my calves are really poor, I'll be honest. My calves are awful. I've got high calves, and no matter what I do, I can't get them any bigger. So I'm probably not the best person to ask for calf exercises. But yeah, as you rightly say, lots of cyclists have massive calves. Mine not so big. No matter what I did with training, I couldn't do anything with my calves at all. So I think the information you guys have put up is probably going to be more beneficial than anything that I can add to that.
Yep. Tam, thanks for the comment. And you've also got a follow-up question. Tam is saying, hi guys, been on Carnivore 2 weeks and feel brilliant. And
hey, congratulations.
Can I ask, doing 6 eggs and steak and water, cut down from 4 liters of water to 3 liters, is that okay? Anything else I should be taking? I'm a big fan of drinking to thirst. I think 4 liters is a lot of fluid. Personally, I think 3 liters is a lot. But
salts. Make sure you get salts in. Yeah, salt replacement is really important. So natural sea salt, Celtic sea salt, pink Himalayan, or supplement with some form of electrolyte. Salt is really important. Way more important than we've been led to believe.
I'm with that. Yeah, hydration isn't water. Hydration is electrolytes, which you put into water. Simple, really.
I've never heard it worded that way, but I like that a lot. That's a really good way to say it.
Thank you. Carlston is saying, I just heard the term carnivore confidence. I got more confident. How about you? You more confident, Carl? Yeah, Rich.
Yeah, for sure. Anybody that's familiar with my story, I used to suffer with severe depression, anxiety, and wouldn't leave my house. Never felt worthy of the company of others. So I had zero confidence at all. And now I'm sitting here talking with you lovely people. So yeah, it's to do with the neurotransmitters in the brain, the catecholaminergic neurotransmitter synthesis, how the body creates neurotransmitters. Going carnivore allows us to create these a lot more efficiently. I won't bore you with all the science behind that. We did go into depth with Colt, didn't we, in regards to the neurotransmitters with depression and anxiety.
Yeah, quite a bit. A whole episode on it.
That's a fantastic podcast to listen to, I think. I think it went well. But yeah, I've noticed great improvement in depression, anxiety, confidence. And yeah, it makes perfect sense. What we put in is what we get out. When we are supplying our body with everything it needs, then our body begins to work the way that it should. We begin to feel, the way that we should, and think and see things and act and feel. Every body just does everything that it should be doing. When we are depressed and when we are anxious and not very confident, there are other contributing factors as well. We don't do the things that we should be doing. But this is heavily driven by the food that we consume, heavily driven. And if you want to know more about that, Colt's podcast is the one to listen to. Tout in.
Yes. Hey, Karst, I'm really, really proud of you too for looking at the more important aspects of this diet too. Yeah, I think that's a very, I think it's something that we need to talk more on in this space, is not just the health benefits, but the mental benefits and how it does increase your confidence. Most people in this world wish that they could adhere to a diet and stick to it, and adhere to an exercise plan and stick to it. And even if it's a different diet other than the carnivore diet, like just the fact that you're doing something and sticking with it, and that you're doing what you said you were going to do, that builds confidence. So I would say that that's probably where some of it is coming from. And then the other angle to look at it too is that maybe the carnivore diet has been giving you more nutrients, specifically from red, that are optimizing your hormones, specifically testosterone. Men that have high testosterone, super confident. Men that have low testosterone, not confident at all. I've had very high testosterone and I've had very low testosterone. The lowest testosterone I've ever had was after my first 4 shows. They were all done with the very popular "if it fits your macros" mentality. So basically, just calories in, calories out, lots of cardio, and doing what everybody else says to do on YouTube, until I started listening to guys like you guys. And then started maturing in my journey a bit after that. And so, yeah, testosterone has not been an issue. We have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old since then.
Testosterone is a hormone. What creates hormones?
Nutrients.
And fat in particular.
Yeah.
We need.
I was going to say cholesterol in particular, right?
Cholesterol, exactly. So, things that we remove from our diet. We are told by media not to consume cholesterol, to fear cholesterol. Cholesterol is essential for life. It's essential for cell formation, cell communication, nutrient absorption, nutrient transportation. It's essential for healing, and it's essential for the production of hormones. We can't create hormones without saturated fat. So if we want to be fit and healthy and confident and have high testosterone, then we need our choline. So eat your eggs, eat your saturated fats.
Especially the yolks.
Especially, for sure.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
Yeah. There's a lot of cholesterol in eggs, which is good, because you need a lot to make a chicken. Simple as that. So people should realize that egg is completely there to make an animal. I mean, so about the best source of stuff you can get. Carl is asking me, do I still use my X3 bar? Yes, I do. Have you added your own routine to it? No, I haven't. Do you follow the Dr. J recommendation? I do follow the Dr. J recommendation. I think it's very good. But recently, I have missed the camaraderie of the gym. So I've been doing X3 for a couple of years, but I have missed that. And I said this to Rich, because he's so sort of full on and very competitive. I'm missing all that sort of stuff. So I've gone back to the gym and enjoying it. But I do enjoy that sort of nodding your head when someone says hello to you and all that sort of stuff. So I think the X3 is excellent and it's really good, really convenient. I certainly liked the results. When I first used it in that year, I gained about 7 to 8 pounds of muscle. So it was really good. But it could have been also with a combination of higher protein and carnivore. So let's have a look. Big question here from Matthew. Colt, do you take any supplements?
Yeah, I'm drinking them right now. Okay. The only supplement that I'm a huge fan of is glutamine. And that's all anecdotal evidence. Every bodybuilding coach over here says that if you're on one supplement, glutamine is the one that's really worth it. I tend to see better results with it when I am not getting as much protein as I would like to be. The only time that I'm doing that is when I'm specifically cutting in an effort to burn body fat, which I'm not doing right now. I'd probably do that 1 or 2 months out of the year on the off season. When I cut, it's a little counterintuitive than the way that most people do it. But instead of pulling from fats, I actually pull from protein. And I believe that the reason that this works so much better is because my insulin levels are a lot lower. And so I get in a deeper ketosis that way. I have a higher metabolism. And And I just like doing it that way. There's people that will say, no, keep your protein exactly where it's at and then drop your fats because there's less energy that you're taking in and less that could potentially be stored as body fat. I see that angle too. I just get way better results doing it this way. And that's the way that Robert Sykes explained for the most part how to do it in his book, is to drop protein not low all the time, but towards the tail end of a prep. You know, you're not going for a sustainable look. You're going for a very temporary look. And so when I do drop my protein and it gets a little, and it gets around, let's see, I weigh 195 pounds this morning. When my protein gets below 180 grams a day, that's when it starts hurting my recovery. And then that's when I start adding in some essential amino acids and some glutamine. I use a glutamine called transalyl glutamine. It's a dipeptide structure. So it doesn't get digested in the same way that like BCAA supplements do, and in the same way that food does. So it doesn't ever take me out of a fasted state. It just gets pulled from the digestive tract directly into the bloodstream. So those are the two supplements that I typically recommend. Other than that, vitamin D, just for general health. Most people are vitamin D deficient. There's probably more of a dietary solution to that. But yeah, that's pretty much my supplementation game in a nutshell. That and a pump formula, citrulline malate 2-1. That's about it.
Steve,
I can't hear.
Steve,
I can't hear you guys.
Steve, you muted.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Well spotted. Well spotted. Mike has said, that's a great answer, Colt. Sorry, that's what I was saying. Right.
Oh, thank you.
Mike said, I found out that my grip strength is likely limiting my pull downs. Should I get wrist straps to allow for better grip and hence better lat burns, or should I supplement my workout with grip exercises?
Okay. Yeah, I love this question. So my first question is always, what's your goal? Is your goal for overall strength, or is your goal for hypertrophy? You're talking to a bodybuilder, so I'm going to assume that it's for hypertrophy. If it was me, and if I noticed that my grip strength was lacking on pull downs, first of all, I would be curious as to what kind of bar you're using. Most gyms, do you guys have MAG grips over there? Maximum Advantage Grip?
I'm not sure because I'm not going to the gym much.
Right on. Okay. Well, it's like they're any kind of a bodybuilding gym where like there's actually bodybuilders that go to that gym. Here in the US, they're super popular. They're all over the place. And so it's a pull down attachment. They have 7 of them. Highly recommend these. I'm not affiliated with them in any way at all. I'm just a huge fan. I have the entire collection. They're a thing over here. But they're pull down and seated cable row attachments, and they completely take your forearms out of the equation. You get a mind muscle connection with your back that is completely different than having to like grab an actual hard bar. They have a no slip grip on them. It's patented. I don't know what they use, but that changed my back game dramatically. I was able to get a lot better back workouts after that. If you don't have access to that and you're just using like a standard pull down bar, I would suggest doing your first couple sets. And again, I'm assuming that hypertrophy is the goal. I would recommend doing your first couple sets just straight up natural, raw, with no straps whatsoever. And then your last one or 2 sets, if you're doing 4 sets, which is what I typically do, then I would throw the straps on for that. And you'll probably be able to get a couple of extra reps out of it. Make sure you push yourself really hard on the negative. And so that would be about a 10-second negative. And then, yeah, towards the end, I would do some sort of a grip exercise. My favorite one lately, we have a demo on this on our YouTube channel, Skullbells TV. I think it was like 5 videos ago, but you hold a bar behind your back like that. And so your hands are like basically on your butt, and you let the bar roll all the way out to the ends of your fingertips, and then squeeze it all the way up, and then let it roll out all the way to the ends of your fingertips again, and then squeeze your hand all the way up like that. That's more effective, or excuse me, I like that one better than doing like the old school grip exercises that you see people doing, or like the one in Arnold Schwarzenegger's book where you have your hands on your knees. That one tends to be too hard on my wrist. So if I stand up, then I take the strain off my wrist, but I can still work the forearm muscles that I'm targeting for grip strength.
And I'm seeing that Rich is still muted, so I'm guessing he doesn't want to add. But anyway, that's fine. I'm old school. Actually, I like you to work to your natural grip. And just as you do more pull-ups, your grip improves. A dead hang is very good for your grip. So basically, you hold the bar, make sure your feet aren't touching the ground, and just hang there. Do at least 60 seconds if you can, and you will find that your grip strength will improve pretty quickly. I'm going to put this in from Jonathan because one of the things I didn't show on my little chart, which I thought was interesting, gluconeogenesis is supply driven, but mostly demand driven due to the nature of us on the carnivore diet. I think that's absolutely true. But one of the things I did with my glucose ketone meter was I took my blood glucose and ketones after, like I said, I'd been fasting, but I agree with Rich, actually. I'm a big fan of being fed and then fueled. I don't think of fasting like that. I only did it for the experiment. I just eat when I need to eat. But anyway, the point being, I hadn't eaten for a long period of time, took my blood glucose, took my ketones, and then I immediately went out and just did 300-meter sprints, absolutely flat out, came back, and my blood glucose had gone up by 18% and my ketones had dropped by 32%. So, yes, demand-driven gluconeogenesis. What happened there was my glucose went up. And that is actually counter to what I was taught when I did my diabetes and obesity qualification. If anyone I was training went low glycemic, then to just give them fast-acting carbs. One of the things that's very interesting is, and I'd never heard anyone else say it, but I've always thought it. The first person that said it to me was Dr. Sean Baker, and he said, I would have just got them to do some press-ups. And that's true, because once you start exercising, your blood glucose goes up. Much better than fast-acting carbs, but that's not the standard duty of care. I'm not recommending that for people out there. So, but I did prove that that does actually happen. Right, let's have a look. Some more things. Let's try and catch up. We're a little bit behind. Tim Day, hi chaps, former natural bodybuilder for 20 years when carbs were cool. Colt's looking great and Richard still has too much muscle for someone who cycles and fasts for 18 hours. Lucky git. There you go. Laugh out loud. So that's for Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
Cami, yeah, it's great. Cami is saying Celtic sea salt and ancient lakes electrolytes are great. Don't forget, you've got Keto Pro there, who does electrolytes as well. Sorry, Colt. Hydration isn't water. Hydration is electrolytes. Amazing. Thank you, M. Mm-hmm. That's very good. Hi, guys. Sardine omelette, a good choice for a meal. And is Danish blue cheese okay in small amounts?
That sounds delicious. I would say, heck yeah.
Well, so
those sardines, you're getting a good source of omega-3s, right?
Sounds good to me. That sounds absolutely delicious. Yeah.
I've never even thought of that, but I'm going to try that. Sardine omelette.
Yeah, sardines are awesome. Sardines and mackerel. Well, mackerel, in fact, is probably the better source of omega-3, but sardines are my next go-to. Yeah, I try to eat sardines probably 2 to 3 times a week. Never tried them in an omelette, but I love eggs, and I love cheese. So yeah, I'll be trying that this week.
Cool. Do you guys have black cod over there? Have you ever heard of black cod? It's also called sable fish.
Well, I've heard of it, but we don't tend to have that. I don't think I could get that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we have it over here. It's a fish that has, I want to say 2 or 3 times as much fat as salmon. That's been kind of one of my go-tos whenever I go for fish.
Cool. That's good. Tim's looking for advice. While I just put that up on the screen, just going back to the grip strength, by the way, people that do pole fit or people that do deadlifting, they have chalk. By the way, you could do that. You could put a bit of chalk in your hands just to give yourself a little bit of assistance. Yeah. And there is also a squirty thing that's sort of like liquid chalk that you can put on. Anyway, right. Tim Day. Advice, please. I'm eating 3 times per day, 50 grams of protein, 30 grams fat at each meal of pork, beef, butter, not gaining muscle like I used to on carbs, but I'm full from this amount of food. 5'10", 150 pounds and ripped.
Good stuff. Okay. So he weighs 150 pounds. He's getting 150 grams of protein, so he doesn't need any more protein than that. 30 grams of fat at each meal. why not more than that? I would say your fat should be higher if you want to build muscle, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, fat. One of
Yeah.
the often understated things is fat will push your bile production, and bile is needed for amino acid absorption. If you're feeling full, what do you think, Rich? Sorry, we've got to get you in. You're very quiet today.
Yeah, what makes you think you're not building muscle? I mean, the effect of carbohydrate gives this illusion that we are fuller because it'll fill your muscles with glycogen. So it may not be the case that you're not gaining as much muscle as you. Carbs do not build muscle. So we've spoken about this, time and time again. Carbs increase muscle protein synthesis by 0. That's the impact that carbs have on building muscle, and that's a fact. Protein builds muscle. In fact, it's leucine, the amino acid leucine, that activates mTOR and builds muscle. The co-ingestion of carbohydrates with protein does not further augment muscle protein synthesis, but the co-ingestion of fat with protein does indeed increase muscle protein synthesis. So if you want to build muscle, you need protein and you need fat. I mean, yeah, I would argue possibly you could try more fat. But again, I would argue that maybe you are building muscle, you're just not as full. You could try supplementing with creatine. Creatine would give you a fullness. It will add a little bit of weight to the body, but it's water weight in the muscle. It'll add strength as well, because it's going to power the phosphocreatine energy system, and it's going to give you more leverage in the muscle. And electrolytes. Electrolytes are key. Sodium and potassium. We need sodium and potassium for the sodium-potassium pump. Electrolytes, the salts are essential. But yeah, I would question, how do you know you're not gaining muscle unless you've done a DEXA scan or you've been on an in-body machine, which is 99% accurate to a DEXA scan. And there's no way of actually knowing. But I would argue the fact that it's probably just a feeling. When you consume a ton of carbs, it does that, and you might feel that you're bigger, but in fact, you're not. No, when I used to cut for a competition, my body weight was incredibly low, but I looked absolutely huge on stage, and the reason is it's the ratio from the delts down to the waist. So the V or the X frame, I would look absolutely humongous on stage, but with clothes on, I looked like a little boy. You wouldn't even think I trained if I had a baggy jumper or a baggy t-shirt on. It's an illusion. So when we lose fat, we lose it from everywhere. So buy smaller t-shirts, but buy tighter t-shirts, and you'll look bigger. It's an illusion. The fact that you're ripped and shredded is fantastic, and that is way healthier. So that's my 2 penneth.
And a very good 2 penneth it is as well. I mean, we don't know your situation, Tim. You could possibly be not training hard enough. We don't know. You could be overtraining. There is many things that could be slowing you up. But I agree with Rich. You've got to look carefully at your body composition. And anyway,
yeah. Hey guys,
sorry.
I would just like to add one thing to that. I just have to say this. That just looks like a scary low amount of food for somebody that wants to build muscle. I don't. Even my athletes that are on contest prep right now, that are 7-8 weeks out from a show, they're not on anywhere near that low of food. Like they need to stay full. My fats are always higher than my protein, always, as an athlete. And again, this is the bodybuilding coach, not the nutritionist, in me talking right now. But when my fats, especially every single meal, my fats need to be higher, and that's what keeps me full and energized. So
you could need a program, Tim, something to follow. So we're all available for coaching. So there you go.
Looking to gain 10 pounds there. It's easy to gain 10 pounds. I can gain 10 pounds in a couple of days. I think we covered this the other day, isn't it? My body weight fluctuates 6K, 5 to 6K within the week. That's a stone. I haven't built any muscle or gained any fat. That's pure water. It's easy to gain weight, but to gain muscle, top end of gaining muscle, you're looking at gaining 0.8 pounds per month. So, I mean, to gain 10 pounds, you're talking well over a year. And that's usually on people who are heavily supplemented with anabolic steroids. So 10 pounds, I think you're looking at a year to 2 years minimum to gain 10 pounds of lean mass, of quality lean mass. It's easy to gain weight.
Mm-hmm.
Go and drink a couple of pints of water and you'll soon gain a couple of pounds. But quality mass takes time. It takes time to build that muscle. And unfortunately, it's hard work, consistency, nutrition. And yeah, you've got two fantastic coaches in the likes of Stephen and Colt there. So feel free to reach out to them for any further guidance.
And just going back, that's the thing that people that do pole fit use called dry hands, and that helps with grip.
Wow. So all the gyms that say no chalk, that's your guys' workaround.
And for the next question, magnesium spray. And I don't know if you guys supply it, but anyway, is magnesium chloride spray good for muscle cramps? I've heard some carnivores recommend it. When I did my rehab before the restrictions and I was very busy, I would use this a fair bit, and maybe 70% of the people felt it was beneficial. It could be placebo. Not overly bothered about the fact it's placebo, because if it works, it works.
Exactly.
But yeah, I don't know if you two guys have got any comments on that for muscle cramps.
Yeah, magnesium, fantastic. Matthew, I don't know if, I'm guessing you may be using my electrolyte. Now, usually magnesium is key, and there's tons and tons of magnesium in the Keto Pro electrolyte. But more importantly, or just as important, and one thing that I wouldn't say more important, but certainly just as important, is the ratio of potassium to sodium. We put this sodium in, but sodium depletes potassium. So a lot of cramps are potassium driven also, as well as magnesium, which the electrolytes are jam packed with. So I'd be shocked if you're still suffering with cramps if you're taking enough of the electrolytes that you get from me. I don't know if you want to pop that into the comment there, but mag spray does work, but it sounds like maybe you're just not getting enough electrolytes.
Yeah, Rick there is saying, Rick's brilliant. He's been carnivore for 40 years. And I'm happy to have never had to deal with muscle cramps, he says. So Matthew's just come back about your black cod. He's seen it in Tesco's. That's in the UK. That's a supermarket. And it's super expensive.
Man, it's cheap over here. That's too bad.
So yeah, Tim's appetite is just coming back to us and saying it's very small on carnivore because
it is difficult. I think if you're going to have to increase a little bit. It does seem way too. I usually work on like a 50-50 ratio at the lower end. Look how nature intended. Everything in nature comes with protein and fat. An egg is almost equal ratios of protein to fat, around 6 grams of protein to 5 grams of fat, give or take. And steak, is roughly the same. Certainly more fat required, I think. But
hey, Richard, I think that was a very wise answer that you gave to, I think it was Tim earlier on that too. And buy a bigger t-shirt. You don't need to have bigger muscles. You don't need to be bigger. Right, or smaller t-shirt. That's what I meant. But I mean, if you are ripped at 150 pounds and 5'10", then you are, I mean, you're probably peeled, man. Like this guy probably has no body fat. If your appetite is what's preventing you from being able to get bigger, I would agree with Richard. I think that's just, I think that we're all not one size fits all. What works for one person doesn't always work for another person, and we're all built differently. We all have different genetics, and some people can put on muscle rather easily, and some people have a harder time with it. But like in this case scenario, I would say that it's just more muscle than your body really wants to have on at one time, and you're going to have to work against your satiety signals, which I would never encourage anybody to do unless it's for a temporary goal or for a fitness goal that's really worth it and really important to you. Same thing with extreme dieting. You don't need to be, you don't need to see veins popping out of your abs all day, every day to think that you have a good physique, right? That should be a temporary goal. So.
And I think as Rich is always saying as well, it's not healthy to be that defined. You do need a level of fat to be healthy. So I just want to say, as a good host, I should say to Dana, who it's a name that I've not seen before, thank you for joining the channel and piping in with, yes, mag is the best. I'm assuming you're talking about magnesium, and same with Tim. Hello, Tim.
Oh, she's saying mag grips, I think. The mag grip.
No, I think
we were talking about.
I think the comment did come after the magnesium spray thing, wasn't it? Yeah,
okay.
I'm sure it was. Yeah.
Thanks, Dana. Thanks for joining.
Either way, yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you to everybody for joining. Stefania here. Hi, everyone. Lovely to see Colt 2. That's good. Question for Richard. I train in the evenings and was considering using exogenous ketones as a pre-workout as I feel I need more energy. What would you advise?
Hey, Stefania. I know, Stefania, we've done a consultation. I know athletes that I work with who swear by ketones and others don't. It's a bit of a taboo subject within the community because we produce ketones naturally, which we do. But I use ketones every day, and I use them for a variety of reasons. I use them for the anti-inflammatory purposes. I use it for cognition. I use it for concentration. I use it for energy. Lots and lots of reasons. So I will use it after training because it helps increase EPO naturally. It blocks NLRP3 inflammasome. So if I am struggling with a workout due to inflammation, the BHB will suppress the inflammation, block the inflammation, allow me to continue to train harder and for longer. I swear by ketones, but I mean, it's easy for me to say because I make them. As you very well know, I'm one of the only UK manufacturer of exogenous ketones, but I don't make them just because I'm trying to sell a product to make money. I make products that I make because I use them. I use the ketones every day. And as I say, for various reasons. They're fantastic pre-workout, but they don't work in the way that a pre-workout does per se. If you use exogenous ketones without caffeine, it's energy on demand. So it won't keep you awake. You can even use ketones to help you sleep. They go to work when you do, so you still have to work hard. Unless you're using the Raspberry Bomb. The Raspberry Bomb that I do, the caffeine works synergistically. It increases ketone levels and the body's ability to utilize them more effectively at a much higher rate, which is what I've used today on my, I've been out on a bike ride. Can I share my screen, Steve?
Of course you can.
Yeah, let me see if I can. So just as...
Please do. While you're doing that, I just want to say thank you to everybody that's new to the channel. It's really appreciated. And we've got Colt on. That's why it's so exercise-based, because he's an absolute wizard, an expert in exercise. I've got some great programs and stuff. So, Rich, I'll add it to the stream for you.
Brilliant. So yeah, I don't know if you guys can see this, but like I'm new to running. Running and cycling. This is cycling.
Can you zoom in on it at all, Rich? Are you able to make that
I
bigger?
can certainly try. Let's see if I can. That is full screen. Yeah, that's my full screen.
Can you not press Command and Plus or something?
Let me try something else. Let's open it this way.
That's okay. I know we're carnivores and we got super eyesight, but it might be a bit small for a few people.
Right. Now, I've made it bigger on my screen, but it's not going bigger on yours. Why is that?
Oh, I don't know. Shall I? Well, maybe.
Let me stop sharing and try again. I mean, this has been built way too much now. This is going to be a massive anticlimax. But
let's do this thing. Let's do this.
Add
to the stream.
So
I think it's going to be better. No, that's better. Look at that. That's great.
So I'm new to cycling. I've been cycling a few months. Now my legs weren't feeling brilliantly this morning, but I took exogenous ketones, Raspberry Bomb, one of the ketones that I produce. Went out on a bike ride, and I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with segments on Strava, but everywhere you go, there's different segments that people race, and the times are recorded, you're up against tens of thousands of people. Every person that rides or runs that has gone down that route is recorded. Now, one of the segments that I did today was a short segment. It took me 25 seconds. I averaged a speed on my bike of 32.1 miles per hour, pushing out 520 watts. I am the eighth fastest all time on that segment. I'm the fastest this year. I'm the fastest male this year. I'm the quickest today. And what you can't see on that screen as well, oh, there we are. I'm the fifth fastest by age. And I'm the quickest in my weight category all time. out of everybody in the entire world that has gone down this segment and tried it. I'm number 1 in my weight. Now, the thing with this is the guy that actually is number 1, he's recorded traveling at 60 mile an hour, which is obviously an error. He's probably forgot to switch off his Garmin when he's jumped back into his car and driven home. So I'm actually number 7, because there's no way that you can do 60 mile an hour on the flat on a push bike. At least I don't believe so anyway. So in answer to your question, this is what ketones allow me to do on my workouts when I'm not feeling brilliant. And I am new to cycling. And this route that I have done there is a route down by Amazon, local to me, which is a quiet road that all the local athletes go down to practice on TT positions and their sprint work, because it's a long road with loads of different segments. So this is an area that tens of thousands of people have gone down. Really good athletes from lots of local clubs. So I don't think those stats are too bad. So there's a few things there. 1, I'm carnivore, i.e. ketogenic. And 2, I use exogenous ketones. And that's what I did before I went on that ride today, because my legs weren't feeling brilliant. So take from that what you will. Yeah, that's why I'm ketogenic carnivore, and that's why I use electrolytes and ketones. And that's why I'm probably not very well liked within the local cycling community, I think. But,
yeah. Well, yes. I mean, that's life when you're a carnivore. You do everything that's hard for other people much easier. Absolutely. Got a very interesting question here from Being Benign. Help, it starts with. 60-year-old female, still depressed after 7 months of carnivore. Exercise last few weeks. I have Hashimoto's and treated with desiccated thyroid. I'm still severely depressed. Any thoughts?
We need to look into more detail. We need to understand what you're eating there. There are lots of contributing factors in regards to creatine hormones. Obviously, fat is one of them. Omega-3s, iodine, amongst other things. So, I mean, what are you eating on carnivore? I don't know if we've got time for them to comment again, to come back with, but there's lots of contributing factors, I think, that we'd need to delve in a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I think it's too a specific question, but I would say broadening it out. This is a common thing that does get resolved on carnivore, and I'm assuming that that's why you've come to carnivore. So there could be reasons. Don't forget, neurotransmitters need to be built, but it could be other things as well. Exercise will make a difference, because without a doubt, you do produce endorphins, which is a contraction of endogenous morphine and other things. So you can be using exercise as a biohack to make yourself happier. I think there's just too much really to, we can't give you a personal piece of medical advice or anything like that. That's not what we're doing, just for information. But I would say the track record of most people that come to this way of eating, depression does take a long time to fix, as does sugar addiction. But you're doing the right thing in looking at a species appropriate diet, and which is absolutely bang on there. There's probably more we need to talk about. It could be something a coaching session would help with. And the follow up there, I do electrolytes, and metabolic health shows improvement.
I think
so
that's
good to know. You're showing some improvements already, so that's good. Right, okay. Again, this is Patricia here. So hi, Patricia. I will say hi. Welcome to the channel. If I don't know the names, I'm new to the gym. I think she's saying there. Would I be better off doing higher weights and less reps? I'm doing 3 sets of 10 on everything. Patricia, that's possibly more to do with what your goal is. You see, what do you want? If you could do a follow up there. But yes, I mean, that's how most people start who are new to the gym. 3 sets of 10 on everything. That's what a lot of personal trainers who are inexperienced will say. Just go around, do this 3 sets of 10. But if your goal is to get bigger and stronger, then 3 sets of 10 might not be what you want to do. You might need to do a different thing. It's very difficult from just that one thing.
I would say, generally speaking, 3 sets of 10, it'll get you in the right direction.
Yes.
Regardless of what your goal is, especially if you're new to the gym. I think just the fact that you're in the gym, that that you're putting those machines to work is, man, I'm proud of you.
Yeah, brilliant, Colt. Yes, you're doing it. You're out there. So that's jumped you ahead of about 80% of the population. When I did work in a gym, I'll give you some secret information here. We had loads of sign-ups in January, always had loads of sign-ups in January. And by February, 84% of people were never seen again in that gym, I mean, obviously. So if you stick to it...
Were you eating them?
If you stick to it, you're ahead of the game, honestly. So that'll work for you, definitely. But I think if you want to get more nuanced...
doing the work is most of the battle, isn't it? I think if you are in the gym, Patricia, and you were lifting some weights, and yeah, you're going to see a lot of improvement early on. Anyway, I think any adjustments can be made in regards to specific goal a little bit further down the line. But what I would say is just work till failure, but don't be silly with it. Don't lift too heavy weight. Do what you feel comfortable with, but while still obviously feeling that tension, and obviously you don't want to be lifting weights that are not hurting. But as Colt said, just put in that little bit of work in, you're going to see improvements, and consistency. Consistency is key. So just as Coach Steve says, just keep on doing what you're doing, and you'll soon start to see those improvements.
Yeah. Mike is saying he eats 2 pounds of steak and a few eggs, OMAD, using beef tallow for grilling and as a dipping sauce for steaks, trying to put on body mass, gaining roughly 1 to 2 pounds per month. Feels great. Thanks for that. That's good, Mike. We've got Christopher. Hi, guys. My question is about protein synthesis. While 2MAD on a carnivorous diet, do you think it's optimal for muscle mass, or should I divide my protein and fat intake to more meals for amino acid supplies? That's a good question, Christopher. I don't think I've seen you before, so thanks. Welcome to the channel.
2MAD is fantastic, but you can optimize that further. Again, I think we covered this, Colt, on the podcast.
Yeah, we just did.
Yeah, so it you can, what we're looking to activate is something called the mTOR reset, which we need around 3 grams of leucine. So that would equate to, depending on the source, anywhere between 30 to 50 grams of protein. When you consume that volume of protein, you activate mTOR. And then what we want to do is see the reset, which takes 3.5 to 4 hours, and then activate it again without snacking in between. And then again, so you can activate mTOR 4 times within one day. So for example, if you were to consume food at 8 p.m. and then train weights at 8 a.m., then technically you're still fasted, although you are activating mTOR because you're training. So that's one mTOR activation. Then if you were to eat 4 hours after that, then it's a second activation. 4 hours after that, that's a third. And then again, you could in effect activate mTOR 4 times. 2MAD would allow you to do it 3 times with training, as long as you were training sort of early in the morning or later in the day, but 4 hours after each meal or training session. And snacking in between is not an option. Anything you consume in between is just going to maintain that activation, and you're not going to see the benefit of the mTOR reset. So yeah, 2MAD is fantastic, but you could improve a little bit further. You could also look at supplementing with leucine, which you could take as a supplement just before eating. This will maximize that expression and allow you potentially to build a little bit more mass. Although, I mean, to quantify again is still going to take years and years and years to add quality lean mass. But leucine is a supplement that I think is underrated. But again, it's one of those things that we don't see massive gains. You're not going to take it and put 5 pounds on in a month. Creatine is probably the one that you're going to see more bang for your buck, in effect, in regards to strength and size and volume. But those are the 2 supplements that I would recommend if you are going to supplement with any. But mTOR reset is the way to go. 2MAD is a fantastic place to start, though.
This guy, Christopher, he's jacked. Looking at the picture that I see of him, so I'm assuming that he tracks his macros pretty much to the T. I'm assuming that he knows exactly how much protein that he's eating. If you don't, the only thing I was going to say was that if you're eating 3 meals a day too, you're probably going to be eating more protein and more fat overall. And so you're just going to have more, your body's going to be able to have more to be able to work with too. But yeah, I've noticed, 1 meal a day, you can build muscle. It's a bit slower of a boat though, than spreading that protein out throughout the day. I'm not in a huge rush to build muscle. I'm seeing the gains come slowly but surely, and so I'm on 2 meals a day personally too, pal, and have no desire to change that anytime soon. If it's working, great, just keep going with it. Building muscle is a slow boat to begin with, and when you start getting greedy and trying to get gains faster, even though you're already getting gains, that's how I've always gotten injured.
Steve, you're muted again.
That's a great answer, Colt. And if you're liking what Colt's saying and you've not gone onto his channel, the description will have a link to get onto Colt's channel. And of course, Richard, as you know, is getting all these people going to his YouTube channel, and he wants more subscribers because he's greedy, you see. We all want more subscribers. So make sure that you click on that, and because his answers are great as well. So anyway, let's go back to Dana. She was talking about mag grip.
I take it back. I was wrong.
There you go. That's okay. And Patricia, we've already said to you how great you're doing, and we've answered this question, but yes, just keep doing what you're doing. I think for the moment, that was the 10 reps, resets, I think. Matthew, Richard, I asked about magnesium spray as I seem to negatively react to potassium in all electrolyte powders and separate potassium capsules. Magnesium supplements give me loose stools. So that's why that question was there. Might be something you want to speak to him directly about, I think.
Yeah,
it's quite specific to that one person. Mike has increased his fat intake so he can gain body fat, as I'm fairly lean, and body fat is important for building muscle. Currently 5'11", close to 150 pounds, getting stronger and feeling better. I just need to tell everybody there is a lag in getting the comments answered because we just try to do it in real time. But if we're going to give you a decent answer, if you put your question at 8:19 here in the UK, it's very unlikely it's going to get answered at 8:19 because we would be dealing with other questions. So don't worry, we are listening and reading them and trying to put them all on because it's very nice of you to turn up and watch and comment. So we're trying to give you that. Tim's put, cheers, Colt. I'll try and push for more fat. I need more flesh. More fat for more flesh. Most people want more muscle, don't they, really? Right. Which is flesh. Anyway, right. Yeah. Matthew, thanks for it's best to take
creatine, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Best to take creatine pre-workout, post-workout, or every day.
My personal preference is 5 grams pre and 5 grams post. It can be any time before and any time after. I experimented with creatine on with no creatine or up to 5 grams, 10 grams. I went all the way up to 25 per day, various times per day, split in different fashions. And I found that 5 pre and 5 post worked best for me. But I'm only one person. I don't know if Colt has got anything else to add to that, but the 10-gram split pre and post works best for me.
Yeah. I do 5 grams a day, but not of creatine monohydrate. I use creatine glycerol phosphate. I'm trying to, well, I can send it to you guys afterwards. And if you want, you can put it in the show notes, but creatine glycerol phosphate, again, it's just like the glutamine, trans-allylglutamine. It's a dipeptide structure. So it's more bioavailable and less of it goes to waste, like with creatine monohydrate. That's what my coach recommended that I get on in 2019. I've taken it pretty much every day since until Bart K talked me out of it when I had a consultation with him. And he said that if I was on creatine for that long for the last 3 years without having cycling off, probably a good idea to cycle off. And so I didn't lose any strength. And that was definitely a good idea. So I've recently reintroduced it. This one I find, I notice I have better workouts if I take it before my workout. And that could be anywhere from an hour, a couple hours before, or even during my workout. But later in the day, I don't notice the same strength the next day. So yeah, for me, pre-workout, but here again, I'm not using creatine monohydrate, which I think is what most people use.
Excellent answers, and I'm not muted. Art Master Studio TV. My voice is really going here. But anyway, I shouldn't be screaming at the. For those that didn't see the beginning, I was screaming at the screen today watching the soccer. So anyway, right. Art Master Studio TV says I'm on 2,000 calories a day, 132 grams of fat, 190 grams.
One
of
of those.
fat.
One of those is obviously protein.
Yeah, one of those is protein. 1 gram of carbs and 10 grams of salt average every day. Is that a good ratio, do you think? 58 years old, 21 stone, not very active.
130 grams. Oh my God, it's a different. We need to know really which one of those is the protein and fat, isn't it? I mean, it's
Yeah.
again.
Is the goal to lose weight?
Yeah, we don't know the goal either.
Yeah.
So a little bit more information. So
to be honest, I don't think which way it was split. I don't think that's a bad either way. If it was 132 grams of protein or fat, 132 as protein would seem a bit low.
Mm-hmm.
Severely low actually. If you're 21 stone, we need considerably more protein than that. A good rule of thumb is 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, but what's being touted a lot recently by a good friend of mine, Ben Azadi, is 1 gram per pound of target body weight. So if you're looking to be 16 stone, for example, that would be 16 multiplied by 14 and multiplied by 1, and that would give you your protein. But I always work 1 gram per pound because it's nice and simple. It doesn't involve any thinking, and I'm a big believer in that we can't really overconsume protein. Protein is something that I've always struggled to overconsume. Your body will reject it far before any negative sort of downside effect of consuming protein. But looking at that, I mean, even 190 would be a bit too low, Colt, I think, isn't it? What do you think?
So I was looking at those numbers, and I'm guessing this is a lady that's asking this. And the reason is because most of the female athletes that I'm training, that looks pretty close to what I have them on. It would be about 130 grams of protein if they're weighing around 130 pounds. And then I try to give them as much fat as I can feed them without making them fat. And so, like, obviously,
just need to say 21 stone is 294 pounds.
That's a lot, isn't it? So, I mean, if it is a female, then it'd be 0.9, so 264 grams of protein, and let the fat come natural. So, I mean, I'd aim for maybe 200 grams of protein. Seems like a nice round number, doesn't it? But again, eat until you're satisfied. If you're not hungry, don't eat, etc. Just follow your satiety signaling. But 10 grams of salt, I probably consume around 10 grams of sodium without the other salts. So I wouldn't have an issue with that either, personally.
Right. So we got a bit more detail. Sorry, chaps. 190 grams protein, trying to lose fat. I'm a geezer. You know what I mean? And 6 foot.
So 190 is a lot better. Yeah. So we said around about 200. So yeah, that sounds a lot better to me. I don't think that's. I don't think fat would probably be higher, I should imagine. Although it's not a bad ratio. Again, if it's 190 grams of protein, I think there's certainly worse things to be going for, isn't it? To be honest, I think if you're doing that, you're going to see significant progress incredibly quickly. So, I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But eat as nature intended. Eat your eggs, eat your steak, eat your salt. Wherever those ratios fall into, then that's what they need to be. But you're going to find it difficult to overconsume on protein and fat. Incredibly difficult. If that's all you're eating, and I love to eat, I consume anywhere between 4,000 to 6,000 calories. If calories are a thing, and my body fat percentage is still single figures, 8-9%, and I like to eat, but all I eat is protein and fat, and I really, really struggle to gain weight. And whether I train or not, so what people are throwing at the screen there is, well, you're cycling all of these stupid amounts of miles. I've been, other than the last couple of days, incredibly inactive in regards to running and cycling because I haven't had time. I've been chained to my desk with work. Yet my body weight will still fluctuate within the same sort of barrier, the same what's the word?
Range.
Same
sort of
range. There we
Yeah.
are. Range. I like that one.
Let's get to a few more questions, and I'm going to apologise to Cole. I cut you off there. I didn't mean to, but that new information came in as you were talking there.
Oh no, man! If the questions are coming in, let's answer the questions. I like it.
Yeah. So, Rich, your camera's gone off, by the way. Right, Tim Day, Stephen, you defy your years ridiculously. By the way, on my T-shirt does say born 1964, so I don't have to keep going on about my age. Do you have a beauty regime, so to speak? Any creams, saunas, steam rooms, hair dye, etc., to go your dedicated lifestyle? Right. So, first thing, the more carnivore I got, the less I did anything in that sort of realm. When I first started doing these lives, well, actually, when I was 50, I was much grayer than I am now. And then when I started not doing these lives, but started doing YouTube, I would actually put a little bit, get a mascara brush and get rid of some of the grey. I don't do that anymore. So carnivore has definitely helped my hair. For styling it, I use salt in water, just a spray. I don't use any gunk or anything that's sugary or unpleasant or any gels or any hairspray, because all you got to do is put a little bit of salt in some water, get a sprayer, and bang, you can shape your hair. So that's that. Do I use any creams? No. Do I use any saunas? No. Do I use steam? No. Right. So what do? I have a tallow soap. That's it. That's it. So thanks for asking that. I don't drink much water. I remember about 3-4 years ago, I went and had my face analysed, and they couldn't believe my age and the age that came out on the computer. And it was a big health expo, fitness expo, and they said, "Wow, you have got the biggest gap between what your age is and how old your skin is showing in our data. You must be you must be drinking a ton of water." And I was like, "Nope. In fact, I only actually drink to thirst. So I really don't have much water. I mean, to be honest, possibly when I'm training, maybe 2 glasses, and when I'm not training, maybe 1. So that's it. So that's my answer. Sorry, a bit long there. Didn't mean to go long on that answer, but it's a very nice question. Jenny. Hello, Jenny. This is a logo I've not seen before, so I'm assuming Jenny's new. Question: Carnivore 1 year, some intermittent fasting 2. Did 7+3 day fast recently. Always have maintained muscle. Since losing weight on carne and no kettlebells, my butt disappeared. Rest body is defined. The rest of the body is defined. What's going on? Why has Jenny's butt disappeared? Anyone?
Lack of the glute work, quite possibly. It obviously most of the butt is going to be fat. We need to build the muscle up, so we need to get those glutes built up. I'm sure Colt can recommend some fantastic exercises. Squats is usually one of the good ones, isn't it? But yeah, what can you recommend for building up the glutes, Colt?
Glute exercises. All right. First one, hands down, is going to be a sumo deadlift. Actually, that's what I have. Anybody that's not on contest prep, to where we're not super concerned about overtaxing their central nervous system. I would say that one should be that one that you always got to factor risk versus reward, and that's one that I would say is definitely worth it if glutes want to be your focus. If you're cutting, I don't like doing heavy lifts like that, and so I'd recommend not. But it looks like she's not cutting right now, so yeah, I would put those in. Couple other of the. Oh, you know what? Let me just grab the last glute workout that I wrote. Actually, one sec.
So yeah, Colt's going to demonstrate something here.
Yeah, demonstrate. I don't think so, but
okay,
I'll just walk through.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me and see me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so this is a glute power day for Chrissy. She is 9 weeks out, one of our athletes. She's all over our podcast and social media too, and so she's okay with me sharing this. But her glute power day is lying unilateral hip thrusts, and that would be one leg at a time. Single leg cable hip abductions. So that means your legs are coming in. That's the one that I was talking about earlier with a band. And then abductors, which is where you're bringing it out to the side. She is, even though she's on prep, she's doing sumo deadlifts, but she's only doing 3 sets of them. And then she's finishing with glute cable pull throughs and single leg hip abductions. And then my favorite glute exercise that I've been teaching lately, it's not really, I don't train glutes personally. I'm a male athlete. I'm much more focused on quads and hamstrings, but single leg kickbacks. There's a million different variations that you can do with it. And so I've actually just started doing them just to teach them. And it's fun. I've never really had like a glute pump like that before, but the upper glutes are something that you don't really get a lot of activation with compound exercises. And so the glute exercise that's been working the best for all of our female athletes has been a single leg kickback where you have a low pulley out in front of you, and then an ankle strap. It has Velcro on it, and then 2 little hooks on it for the cable. Gym Reapers makes a really, really good one. That's the brand that we use. So you put the hooks on the front, like kind of right underneath your shin, and when you kick your leg back, you want to rotate your toe out to the side. So if it's your left leg, it's going counterclockwise, and if your right leg, it's going, your toes are going to be pointed, rotating clockwise, and you'll feel your upper glute tie in a bit more and get more of a squeeze there than if you're just going straight back. So hope that helps.
Yeah, that's good. I think, working out, you can use plyometrics, you can use stepper and all that. Anything that activates your glutes is going to be really good. Fluffy Rainbows, which is a great name, and welcome to the channel. I don't think we've seen that before, Rich. She's saying cortisol steps in to make up for lowered estrogen. Cortisol tends to eat up the bums on ladies. You can see broad-backed, flat bum ladies if you're looking. Wow. Well, I try not to look. You get told off for doing that. I know.
Yeah, I'm definitely not looking either. my wife is on the live, so.
But yeah, when I did rehab a lot, I mean, I still do rehab now, but I used to do ever such a lot of it before the restrictions. And many problems were the fact that there was no butt muscles there at all. And you're right, that body shape definitely was pretty prominent. So you've got to activate them, and your central nervous system has got to be awakened, so it does gives you a training response. So yeah, great exercise. So I think we're at the end of the podcast, and we've done an hour and 50 minutes. So that's great. I want to thank you, Colt, for being the guest. It's been really nice to see you here. Hope you've enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Such a pleasure.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to wrap up with? Anything you want to say?
I just had one more question, but I don't know. It might take longer than 5 or 10 minutes, and so
that's okay. We'll answer the question. That's what we're here for. If Rich is all right with that, are you right, Rich? Yep, he's nodding his head for people that haven't are listening on audio.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
all good.
This is someone that I'm training right now. He's on contest prep. Are there benefits with food intake around training? I'm used to eating before training. Since I have taken it out and training fasted, DOMS has kicked in. Delayed onset muscle soreness has kicked in big time. Strength has decreased. I wake up at 4:30 a.m. to work and train at 9. So this gentleman, we didn't even change his macros. We just took out the little bit of food that he was eating before he went to the gym, which is just a couple pieces of bacon, like 10 grams of protein and probably like 30 or 40 grams of fat, I think, if I remember right. He gets fatty cuts of bacon, and then he would have the rest of his food kind of spread out the rest of the day after that. So what we did was we removed that first meal. So now he's training exactly the way that I do. I never, ever train with food in my stomach. It's always first thing in the morning fasted. That's just how I get the best workouts. And I actually feel like my recovery is better that way because I'm fasted throughout the day and my inflammation is lower. So I feel better in the gym the following day. So we took out his pre and post workout nutrition and have that in an 8-hour window later in the day. that's been kind of messing up his digestion, and that's where we're at. So I'm curious if you guys have any thoughts on that.
Is he new to carnivore, Colt?
Oh no, he's been carnivore for about 10 years.
Yeah, it's unusual, really unusual. It same as you. I notice much better benefit through training fasted. I wonder if there's some external factor going on there. Maybe it. But again, we're all individuals. Maybe he's just one of these people that works better with food prior to training. Yeah, it's a strange one. It's something I've never.
I didn't want to drop his macros any further, right? I guess too early at this point. That's usually what I try to save, like for the end of a contest prep. And so usually my first thing to do for someone when they get on contest prep, instead of getting too excited about titrating down on protein and fat right away, is to just simply move their meals and keep everything and keep all the food the same. And that usually drops another 5 pounds, right off the bat, is just taking away that pre-workout meal. So yeah, might have backfired because his body just doesn't like it. And I think maybe we should just spread things out and titrate it down and see if he feels better that way.
So this client's getting up at 4:30 a.m. in the morning to go to work, and always been doing that, yeah? You just said?
Yes.
4:30. I mean, that's not great for your circadian rhythm before you start. I mean, you're waking up almost in the time when you should be you're actually getting up rather than being in bed, being woken up, if you see what I mean. That's pretty early. So I don't know if that's a factor. But also there is a placebo effect, isn't there? I know I spoke about that earlier. Some people just feel better with a bit of something in their stomach when they're training. They just feel that. I don't think that's very scientific, but I do have that. I've come across that a couple of times where people have said, I just can't do it. I know all the science. I definitely get why some people work out fasted, but for me, it just doesn't work. I just need something. And I think that's a mental thing. So that's just a little aside.
Did you say he's coming towards competition, Colt?
Yeah, he is 9 weeks out.
Yeah, I mean, could it just be a case that the training volume might be too much as you're reducing the amount of food that he's putting in towards comp? I mean, you do become awfully depleted as well, don't you? There's less volume in the muscle. I found that I had to go to a lot lighter weights coming into competition prep. Sort of a couple of weeks out, I would have to drop my volume of training. We're not building muscle when we're 9 weeks out. It's all about just keeping everything in place, in shape, and losing the fat. We're not building muscle as we're coming into competition days. So I just wonder whether maybe the volume of training that he's doing needs to be looked at rather than the nutrition potentially. But another factor to throw into the mix there for you to consider, I guess.
Yeah, all good things for us to think about and talk over together.
Okay. Right. So I'm going to wrap up the live. Us guys might stay on for a bit just to talk about whatever, probably carnivore, because we're boring like that, because we really love it. So thanks for everybody that's tuned in and watched, and don't forget to subscribe to Richard's channel and to Colt's, and check them out if you've liked what they've said. If you've liked what I've said, even in my husky tones, then you could subscribe to my channel as well. That'd be really appreciated. So thanks very much, everybody.
Yes, thank you, guys.
Bye.